The games industry has seen plenty of great releases in the AAA space as of late, but a recurring criticism with these blockbuster games has been one surrounding the ubiquity of the experience. Set-piece-driven adventure games and open worlds with RPG mechanics and skill tree progression systems dominate the AAA industry, and there's little in the name of groundbreaking mechanics or interesting mishmashes of different genres in mainstream games to speak of. As such, the baton for breaking that new ground has been passed down to the AA and indie game scene, where plenty of new and exciting releases await us right around the corner. This feature series is dedicated to putting a spotlight on such promising games. And today, we'll be looking at Outpost Infinity Siege. The game is currently in development at Team Ranger, and Outpost Infinity Siege is looking to be another game that stands out against the barrage of homogenized releases in the current AAA landscape. Outpost Infinity Siege is an interesting mix of tactical defense, real-time strategy, and first-person shooting. These are all wildly different genres that appeal to different audiences, but they seem to work pretty well in tandem here. As you can observe in the available footage for the game, the action smoothly transitions from one type of gameplay to the other without any hitches, which almost makes this conjunction of genres feel amazing. The game takes place in an unnamed sci-fi world where players are in charge of commanding a mobile outpost as you defend your base against enemy forces and advance your troops deep into uncharted territory in a grand quest to overthrow the opposition. As you can imagine, this is a pretty bare-bones narrative setup that does just enough to put you in the action, which can be a good thing because the developer isn't spending its crucial resources into a story that not many players would be interested in. If anything, it's a positive sign that Team Ranger knows that the core of its game is the unique combat loop, and is trying to double down on those core mechanics and polish them to an immaculate sheen. Each invasion starts with the player preparing their defenses for battle. You can set up turrets, machine guns, missiles, and all sorts of equipment that one would expect from a game of this ilk, alongside a healthy amount of deadly traps, like explosive barrels, which can be used against incoming enemies. The game will also support co-op gameplay, so players will be able to use support from friends and create even bigger outposts, and cause even more mayhem on the front lines. Outpost Infinity Siege seems to feature plenty of options for players to choose when it comes to defense equipment, and you'll need to make some wise choices if you wish to survive the toughest white-knuckle challenges in the game. The trailer showcases huge squadrons of enemies attacking from the skies above, while ground troops pummel down the player's defenses, so fans should be prepared to face some brutal challenges while playing Outpost Infinity Siege. Once the defenses have been set up, players can shift their perspective to first person as they get thrust right into the heat of battle. The player character is pretty nimble to control, and you can cover huge distances quickly by using your grappling hook to transport you through long corridors and over walls. The shooting mechanics also look pretty competent for the most part, thanks to adequate audio and visual feedback from the guns, as well as damage indicators on the enemies. Furthermore, you can also take control of huge mechs and wreak havoc upon your adversaries by using heavy ammunition, which looks really cool to be honest. There's also some RTS elements in Outpost Infinity Siege which will allow you to direct the specific enemy units your defenses should prioritize, and which ones should be left for you to deal with. All in all, there's impressive variety in the modes of gameplay on offer, and it seems that the focus here is on juggling between these different modes in real time as you try to hold off huge armies against what seem to be insurmountable hordes of enemies. As mentioned previously, player progression will also play a huge role as you advance your conquest in the game. Each successful mission will net you rewards in the form of XP, which can be encashed for upgrades to your outpost. You'll be able to install thicker walls of defense and more cannons to further your security alongside possible upgrades to your mechs and other methods of offensive combat, which will enable you to take on even tougher challenges in the game. Briefly talking about the visuals, Outpost Infinity Siege looks nothing short of amazing. Not only the graphics look great from a technical standpoint, but also intriguing with its art direction. The designers over at Team Ranger have done a great job of depicting a sci-fi world threatened by mechanical monsters and gargantuan mechs, which deserves praise on its own. On that note, we should also highlight that the team seems to have done a great job of rendering all the real-time chaos that ensues in these invasions without any hitches as well. When it comes to Outpost Infinity Siege, the most crucial piece of the puzzle will undoubtedly be the balance between these different forms of gameplay, and whether each of these different loops feed into each other to create a cohesive and fun experience. Ideally, players should have the option to make really smart tactical decisions before the start of the invasion, and set up a sturdy defense wall and complete the mission without firing a single bullet in the first-person perspective. On the other hand, any slip-ups on the preparations front would then require them to harden their efforts by aggressively pushing enemies while controlling a mech or setting off any last-minute traps. Whether the game ends up being successful or not relies on whether Team Ranger is able to crack that element of balance without skimping out on the depth of individual mechanics that make up this experience. In conclusion, Outpost Infinity Siege is looking to be a fresh game in an industry that's too reliant on rehashing old formulas for the sake of increasing profit margins and reducing risks to a minimum. The team seems to have done a great job of realizing the potential of this mishmash of genres, and the end result looks nothing short of extraordinary. Of course, there will still be some skepticism to be had when it comes to games that we haven't played for ourselves. So the best course of action is to always keep our expectations in check for the worst. Outpost Infinity Siege is set to release for PC sometime in Q3 2023, and we'll be checking it out when it releases, and we're hopeful that it will deliver on most, if not all, of its promises.
Today will be remembered forever.
Arrived at the target location, waiting for orders.
We are the vanguard.
That's all for now. If you enjoy what you saw, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, now is a great time to subscribe. We upload brand new videos every single day. After subscribing, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time, right here on GamingBolt.